Three, two, one. All right, everyone. This is my first Rogues. Oh, fuck! I even told you what I was, and I can't. As I'm live now, I'm gonna fuck this up since I'm recording it. Rogues Gallery. That's it. That's what I'm gonna call them. Is Rogues Gallery.
Rogues Gallery.
So.
She's getting to you already.
I know. Like, here's the thing: is I've gone over this in my mind when I was working earlier this morning. I've been thinking about it all week. I thought about the name a long time ago, but I this is the first time I've done an introduction or an intro, and I've just botched it. And I usually do these fucked up. And the problem is maybe I just started drinking when me and you started talking. That's the problem. Anyways, this is my very first Rogues Gallery. If anyone's watched The Social Vaccine, which we don't record anymore, I used to do that with my mates, Jake, Matt, and Brian. So this is more of just my thing going on. For anyone that does know, I'm a streamer, a small one. I play video games. I do whiskey reviews on this channel. I don't do too much gameplay. I want more things like this, where I'm going to be doing interviews or just talking with my friends or people I meet about things like the world. We'll throw in movies, video games, whatever, what have you. And I don't do this on my whiskey reviews because I feel like it'd fuck up my comedy, which is horrible. But if anyone enjoys anything that we're on here, if you just hit the follow button, subscribe on YouTube, go to my Twitch channel, Twitter, Instagram, then I'd appreciate it. I have my friend James here. I met a couple months ago. I forget which one of us found each other at this point.
A little while back now.
Yeah.
A little while back.
We found each other on Twitch because of like-minded games. 'Cause we like playing roguelikes. I know him as Savage Fury, but he's going through a rebrand right now, and I'm not going to air this until he's done with his rebrand, which is going to be the new year, correct?
Yeah, hoping for the first, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So, and when we're done recording, I'll discuss when we'll release this. I'm going to do it on you. Sometimes I record shit and I just set a later date for it, just for it to premiere. So, that being said, why don't you tell them just a little about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Savage Fury, as most people know me at the moment. So I'm a Twitch streamer, soon to be YouTube content creator as well. I say soon to be. I have stuff ready, but that is kind of part and parcel with my rebrand. So as Rogue said, fairly focused on rogue-like games. So I think we met one of my streams way back in September when I was playing Enter the Gungeon. That's what it was.
Yeah, I think I stopped in, and then I followed you, and then you came in later and we talked. I think that's how it started when you saw one of my streams, because I think I was playing Hades and that interested you.
Absolutely, which is a phenomenal game. Should have been Game of the Year, but we'll move on.
100%, yeah.
Absolutely.
That or Doom Eternal.
Absolutely. See, did you know I actually just picked that up on Steam because I've not played it all the way through yet, and it was on offer today. So I just picked that back up because I only played it back when I had Game Pass, I think. But it was on Steam for like tenner, so I was like, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, I think.
Anyway, Twitch streamer, YouTube content creator. I also have a Discord server which I started literally only a month and a half ago, with a lot of small streamers. So kind of trying to get as many people to affiliate as possible. Rogue, we will get there in the coming month. I promised you that.
Yes. It's kind of, and I think we've through your Discord server, you've created a good group of people.
You can say we. You can say we.
I mean, it's your thing. So
I might have created it, but you know.
Oh, I guess a collective we, because there's a good group of people. We constantly are chatting in it. We follow each other. I had a group of people hang out with me yesterday on my stream, and I streamed a good chunk of my day yesterday because I couldn't go anywhere for Christmas. Your lovely wife came in, Ginner, even our lovely friend Amy, who's just super nice,
Yeah.
came in. So that was
That's one way to describe it.
so it was super nice, and it's a very good, and we like for the most part we support each other. I mean, I've talked to me and you in private have talked about how there's a good group of people that are about this team and not too much singular focus. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think in any aspect of anything that we do in life, you do have to have a little bit of a sociopathic singular focus to move on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And then, but a lot of times, because my in real life friends that I work with, people I grew up with, a lot of them are not gamers or think of the YouTube space as a real thing, like it's bullshit.
Sure.
So I don't get a lot, like my support there is fucking zero.
No.
So and like when I post shit, I never post it to Facebook. Facebook is my private social media.
Sure.
Because all I get there is
Same here.
is
Same
shit.
here. I don't.
So
I
every
don't post anything about my streaming on Facebook either.
yeah, and it's just and that's fine. Like everyone has their own views and shit, but I've definitely found a better support group in what we do, and so far in the Discord channel you've created. And we have, like I said, there's a great group of people in there that are group mentality, thought, and we champion each other, and it's a good thing. In a day and age like this, where a lot of people don't do that, period. It's all the me, not the team.
Yeah, and you say in a time like this, this year specifically, I would say this year, 2020.
Actually, no, I don't mean just 2020. I would say more.
No, I'm saying specifically 2020 though. I think more than ever. I know what you're saying. Community is fantastic, no matter when, where it's happening. But I mean, myself, I only started streaming in August, and you know, I'm not saying COVID was a reason, but I was sitting there, you know, at home, sitting on my thumb a little bit more often than not. So I went, you know what? I actually do want to give this a try, and this is the right time to do it. But I wanted to do it because I wanted that community, and that's what I wanted. What you're describing is what I was after, because yeah, I've got friends here. I know plenty of people. I'm fairly social, but being able to talk openly about pop culture and being a nerd and being a gamer with people that won't sneer at it. Because there's plenty of people I know that if I said, yeah, I'm a Twitch streamer, they'd just sneer.
Yeah.
And having a community of people that all want to do what we're doing and appreciate each other, it's I've been really taken aback by the appreciation for it. Yeah, and the support.
Yeah, it's a little mind blowing because right before we started recording, we were talking about like age. Obviously, I know I'm older than you by like 6 years, maybe 7. Because I thought I was the oldest person in our in the Discord, and I was grossly wrong. Although Cam did call me dad one day.
Did he?
Yeah. So
Intentionally.
yeah. Because I'm just like, I'm an old man, and he's like, whatever. And we discussed age. I think in my stream, and then he got done, so I hopped in his. Like an hour later, because he was playing Rocket League, and I just go, "Are you winning, son?" So he just we had a chuckle, we had a giggle, so it was really cool. Now since this is one thing that I told you I did want to bring up, and you did mention COVID, and well, COVID's going to be mentioned for a while. I find it interesting, and this is one reason why I wanted to talk to you first, especially with what's going on in the world concerning COVID. Right now, you guys are going through a second surge of the virus, aren't you?
Yes. Fun that it is.
But you guys, as far as I know from the media, like you guys did a pretty good job in the beginning of just shutting shit down.
It's an interesting take on it, that comment. Carry on. Sorry.
Well, because I mean, from the perception is that most countries besides the U.S. has done at least a decent job of controlling, like, quarantining, taking care of their people, opposed to America, where I'm considered an essential worker, so I've been working at the public the entire fucking time, but I'm also an at-risk person. So this whole thing's been a shit show for me, and then our government literally is fighting with each other over giving us another stimulus check, which they just passed. Oh, we'll give you $600. So in total, in the entire year, they've given the American people $800. And in these arguments, I saw and actually I saw this on Twitter and actually Facebook too. Someone took a screenshot and they said, like, Argentina, blah blah blah, and during shutdown, it showed the UK giving out like 2,300 pounds or some shit, like a month. Is that correct? Did they even do that?
I've not seen a penny of it. So, as you say this, I'm just looking into exactly what a stimulus check is. I have an understanding, but I want to understand, and I'll ask you while I'm just having a casual Google at the same time. But a stimulus check. Is that literally a check through your door giving you 600, 800, whatever dollars? Or is it into your paycheck? Or is it tax relief?
It is quite literally straight into your bank account.
Yeah, so we don't have that because I could be wrong in saying this, but I don't think the government in the UK has the ability to even put money in your account like that.
See now,
without you try giving them your details.
See now, like when. Oh, the government has our details. Our government does. So, like, when I file my taxes, either I can get a check sent to me, which will take fucking forever, or I can file for electronic deposit, which I have to give them my bank account, which they have already.
Right, yeah. Okay, so you are consenting to that. Going back to what I think happens in the UK, and I have not received any physical money. What we have done, and I should prerequisite this with, I have worked through the entire of it. I have been able to be lucky enough to be able to work from home. After the initial, so we've had kind of 2 lockdowns. After the first lockdown, I started doing 1 day in the office a week. That's kind of an optional thing, but it's kind of nice to break up my week, to be honest. But what we have had is something called furlough, and I don't know if that's something you have in the US.
We do have furlough. Yeah.
Right. So that's, I think, what you're referring to of this, like, 2,300 whatever. It's just furlough. So it's just where the government are paying you 80% of your monthly wage up to, I want to say it's up to $2,500 a month, but it might be 1.5.
Maybe that's it.
But you get 80% of that per month if you're not working. But the caveat, if you like, is to be furloughed, you physically have to be incapable of working your current job. So that is either because the office is shut, the business is shut, the business is closed, or because you are in a high tier of severity in terms of worry.
Yeah.
Risk category. That's the word I was looking for. Me personally, I haven't been furloughed. I've been very lucky, but I know some people that have.
Yeah.
And I even know some people. I know some people that were out of a job full stop, and that doesn't count as furlough. So I don't know how it worked for them, but the people that have been furloughed, it was 80%, and then it was due to reduce to 60%. But that only accounts for salary, not commission.
What about hourly people?
Hourly counts as salary still, if you know.
Oh, okay.
Because if you're on an hourly contract, you are contracted to do 40 hours a week, and
they base it off that.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
but
now
if you're commission based, and I know your job,
yeah,
to how you get paid. So I don't know how it would have worked for you if you were in our situation.
Now, well, I work for an international company that plays the system. So,
We're not to be disclosed.
yeah. I mean, I will never say who I work for, but
Sure.
But-
There'll be some individuals watching that may know.
yeah. Oh no, I have them blocked on social media, so I'm good.
Right, okay, for a reason.
Yeah. And if they found out, dude, they'd lose their shit if I knew I had a beard.
I remember you saying that.
So, so now you say furlough. So
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's your unemployment over there.
Unemployment is very different to furlough. Furlough is something that has only come in as a result of COVID.
Okay, so now
a new term.
Now, furlough over here is let's say an unfortunate event happens like this, like COVID. We had low man and totem pole furlough people. So basically, what happened there was they got, as long as it didn't go over 3 months, I believe, the company would pay their medical.
Right.
I think that's the only thing they covered, benefits wise. They wouldn't do anything with 401k or anything like that, but they could also collect unemployment on that. So, which for the first 6 months of COVID here, unemployment was 80% plus 600 on top of that. People were making more on unemployment here during the first 6 months of COVID than they were fucking working.
But that is if you get laid off from a job, right?
No, that's
if you didn't have a job beforehand, surely you don't get that.
Correct. You have to. Yeah. So it's all dependent on the states,
like
too.
What do you call it? Gardening leave or severance, or where you get laid off because they can't keep you a job anymore. But here's some money, say, it's basically so the company can save face.
Yeah, and if you're furloughed, your job's safe for about 3 months. Legally, they can't do a fucking thing to you. Now,
I think it's longer here actually. The COVID furlough.
Yeah, and you guys have furlough for maternity leave and shit too, right?
We wouldn't call that furlough. So again, furlough is only for COVID.
Yeah.
What we just call that maternity leave or paternity leave.
Paternity.
For the father.
See, we don't get that here. It's the wife or the woman gets to.
It's not worth taking. So.
Oh yeah, because you're gonna be. I think it's as bad for the men because you're gonna be hand and foot.
Oh no, it's not that. It's the money you get. So paternity leave, statutory paternity leave is 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks, but I think it works out as £169 a week. Yeah, it's not worth taking.
No, fuck that.
So, for instance, what I did, I took the 2 weeks. So a lot of companies will pay you extra, though. A lot of companies pay you extra on top. I actually just whacked some holiday on top because I was like, actually when my second born was born, it was just before Christmas, so I just went, look, I'm not taking my paternity. I'm just gonna have the Christmas holiday. I'm good, and I get full pay that way. But yeah, it's a bit different. So you have paternity and maternity, but it's all down to the company here, really. For instance, you said that about health benefit. Obviously, we have the NHS. I feel like we should prerequisite because we didn't say it at the start. I'm in the UK, and you are.
Wait, you're in the UK?
Yeah, did you know?
I thought you were fucking Australia, dude. I totally forgot I was gonna do that bit. I was gonna do that at the start. Fuck.
Well, just run it now if you're recording anyway. And then you can just cut it.
Cut it. See, that's something I needed. So when I do those whiskey reviews,
I've got some people we can help with that.
All right.
Actually.
So when I do
in the Discord,
when I do the whiskey reviews, I do that one take. It's fucking because I don't have.
Yeah, and I bet sometimes you're like, oh no.
I do because I don't have really good software editing program. I can cut shit, but I can't cut and then move shit and put shit other places. I can just cut. Yeah. So Uh, so when I do those, I think about it for a day or two. Like I think of jokes. I talk with my friends. We say fucked up shit to each other. Like I made a joke about herpes in the last one.
Yep.
And
I've watched it.
yeah, and so and so he told me that 2 weeks prior. Like he this my God love my fucking friends, but they're these two. The one where I got it from, they're fucking stupid ass rednecks.
Mm-hmm.
And he just randomly goes, just we were talking while we're working and on the phone, and he just goes, man, it's kind of fucked up. He shares his piece, but she doesn't have to share her piece, and I fucking lost it. Now other dumb redneck friends like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Yeah.
I just go herpes,
Yeah.
and he goes,
peas. His peas.
yeah. He's like, what? Herpes. And he's like, it took 5 minutes to explain it to him, and it was funnier him not getting it because he's so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
That first joke, and my buddy Toby, who said it, he goes, man, he goes, use that in one of your videos, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to, and I totally forgot. And I go, oh, I'll put it.
I'm like, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, so I go, oh, I'll use it. I told him I was going to use it in the Overvolt. Was it? Yeah. Old Overholt one, and I didn't. I forgot about it. He goes, I watched that whole fucking video. I'm like, good. That's what I want you to do anyways. So I go, I'll put it in every single one, expecting you to watch the entire thing, and I'll never do it, just so you watch the entire video. But he's one of the people that I make stories up, Toby. And you've been lucky enough where I made a story about you, and one of
it was something I was going to bring up because it touched me a bit, and particularly you speaking about my wife. So she watched it. I was like, you need to watch this little bit. Like, there's a 30-second, 1 minute period where you're just talking about her, slagging me off, bigging her up. Standard. Yeah. I mean, I do it. I'm an arsehole. She's a saint. Like, I don't know how I ended up with her.
she is a wonderful woman.
Yeah, I'm very, very lucky. I shouldn't say anything bad. Luckily, she's not in the house, so she can't hear me if I did.
That's right. I'll DM her later.
Yeah. But she, she was touched by it as well. And I'm gonna say something, and I may offend you, but I know you well enough that I won't.
Okay.
So, when I first met you, first see you, I thought the same thing that you mentioned about your friends. It's like, cool, this guy's proper redneck.
Yeah.
But, I spoke with you on that first stream when you're playing some Hades. We probably spoke for maybe 30 minutes, tops. And this is just me chatting on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately went, yeah, this is, I don't want to use this wording, but it's like, it's a barrier, it's a front. But I don't think it's a front for you. It's just how you come off at very first, right?
Well, part of it is like how I look, though, too. I'm not stupid of how I look.
Of course, you can't help it.
Yeah, I'm fucking handsome as shit.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
if you can't tell, I'm in really good shape. So no, like and here's the thing is also too, just the whole like the big culture thing of American, UK, I'll just say Europe, period. I'm probably what a lot of people typically think of as an American citizen, fat, fucking rednecky looky. So I'm okay with taking the initial like, oh, this guy's probably a stupid fucking racist redneck or some shit, and but
That stuff.
and that's fine. Like
The reason I'm gonna interject. The reason I was bringing this up when we mentioned the missus and the video where you brought me up is, we've known each other now since September-ish.
Yeah.
Ish. It's a rough guess. And you messaged my wife on Twitch some time ago, asking about whether she was a nurse.
Yeah.
And that message there made me immediately go, I've got a lot of time for this guy. I've got a lot of time for it, because there was no reason for you to message her. I'm not going to, unless you are happy with it.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So Rogue, I'm going to speak to you guys now, but Rogue messaged my wife, and on Twitch in a whisper, so no one else could see it, just saying, "Are you a nurse?" Because on my streams, I had mentioned that she does night shifts or weekend shifts, which she's doing right now, where she sleeps overnight. And he said, "Are you a nurse?" Because I just want to say thank you to all you nurses, because you went through a very traumatic experience in the hospital. And from my understanding, if a nurse wasn't there, you'd have not been here. That's my very vague understanding.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can elaborate on that.
If it wasn't for nurses, I and my father would be dead.
Yeah.
I did die. I was lucky enough to get better. So a couple years ago, I had an experience. I went to cardiac arrest. I was saved because the nurse was there. My father, who's stage 4 lung disease, has been misdiagnosed several times, and by paramedics, doctors, and nurses have literally diagnosed him correctly and saved his life when the wrong call was made. So I have a huge spot in my heart for nurses. I do for doctors too. Don't get me wrong. I have friends that are medical doctors. Sure. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm a little bit more harsher considering that I went through what I went through. What
happens, you can be.
Yeah. And that fundamentally changed who I was. And we're all defined by our life experiences, and for better or worse, shit happens. What we do with it beyond that is that. But I will fucking fight you if you're mean to a nurse or animals. That's it.
In your job.
I don't give a fuck. If I'm on the street and I see someone kick a dog, I will fucking fight you. If I'm anywhere and I see someone, if I'm in a hospital and someone is mean to a nurse and I'm there visiting or whatever, well, that's not going to happen right now, but yeah, sure. I will get up and walk to that room and be like, "Hey man, you need to calm the fuck down." Both in the month of February when all the shit that happened to me went down, I had nurses that were not my nurses come and help me with my actual nurse that was there to watch after me. They would come and help with whatever else needed to be done with me, because I said please, I said thank you. I didn't yell at the nurses.
It's worth nothing but goes a fucking long way.
Oh, it does. It is. People don't realize the shit that they go through. And I would lay there because the second time I went in when I had to get a second surgery done on my lungs, I didn't sleep for 4 days because I always had someone coming in every hour, taking my blood or making sure I was alive, and I couldn't sleep. So I got to hear everything. I got to hear people yelling at nurses and all this shit. And I will always respect someone, especially in their professional field, while they're doing it. It's very unlikely I'm going to be an asshole to someone while they're working or doing whatever it is they do. But fuck me, if you fuck with the nurse, I will punch you in your goddamn mouth. Because it's
circling back.
So, anyways,
this story. No, it's all right. I'm not. This story. Just when my wife was touched to the point of almost tears, she really was. Also, I should probably say, my wife is not a nurse. She looks after adults between the ages of 18 and 25 with learning disabilities, who live by themselves, but they have to have someone there at all times to help them, and she sleeps overnight helping them. Just for the record. But we have known each other since September. We already know quite a lot about each other. We have never met in person, but we've got to the point where we're doing a podcast like this, or I am on your podcast, which I'm very aware we haven't got onto any of the subject matters you really, really want to do.
I told you beforehand, we're like, whatever we get off talking about, we're gonna happen. Yeah.
But you know what? The first one, it's good for them to know how we kind of met, where we're from, backgrounds, kind of stuff like that. But the community that has been created for you to be willing to have that conversation with my wife, who isn't even the streamer,
Yeah.
and you to contact her and have that level of conversation. I mean, I've got blooming postcards from Amy, you know? I've sent things to people. Technology is allowing us to actually still be social during all of this. Anyway, sorry, I diverted, but it's only because I've never spoken to you about that message you sent to my wife.
You know, I never thought it would really come up. I figured you would have said something to me.
Everything.
Oh no, I didn't do it on the sly, by the way. I figured you knew about it. But to me, your wife is still a nurse, even though technically she's not. She looks after over here would be mentally disabled people. I do work for those
considered
people.
a key worker in the UK, so that is, I don't know if that's the same term for you, but we have key worker, which means somebody that is on the front line of the help, medical help with regards to COVID and anyone that needs support. I think you call it a frontline worker. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it would be a frontline worker. I'm an essential, but she would be a frontline worker.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, your wife still is. Like, even though she doesn't do medical stuff, she's there taking care of someone that can't take care of themselves, 100%. Yeah. So to me, that's still a nurse to me. And when you said something about that to your wife one day, that's why I sent her a whisper to let her know that I appreciate everything that she does for the people that she does it for. If I found out every time I find out someone's a nurse or I think they're a nurse, I will always message them or have a conversation and be like, hey, are you a nurse? I have customers when I find out that they're nurses. At the end, typically the first time I meet them, I'll just go, oh, by the way, I just want to say I appreciate everything you do, and thank you. And that usually prompts like, why? And I go, and I give them like a cliff notes of what happened to me and my father, and sometimes that turns into both of us crying, but which is weird, but when you're
I wanted to steer away from tears, and I was like, ooh, this could go there.
Don't.
And just so you know, I am the biggest crybaby when it comes to emotional shit like this, so don't worry. I am so bad.
So whoever of the Discord people that ends up watching this, that's in this community,
gonna be interesting.
As much of a dick I come off as, and my shtick is to fuck with you and with anyone else. Like, that's just
everybody's in my stream.
Yeah,
I say you throw shoes at me.
Yeah, no,
he throws a shoe.
Throws a shoe. By the way, I saved up points to have an action taken during his streams to where his lovely wife throws a fucking shoe or a boot at him while he's streaming, and after it's done, he has to go, who throws a shoe, like Austin Powers. And the last 2 or 3 times I've watched
only two.
All right, last 2 times. Don't worry, it'll happen more. I told you I gotta get inventive. I've walked him into.
Pun intended.
Yes. I've gone, hey man, do you know what Yeezys are? And he looks it up while he's streaming. He goes, oh, that's a shoe. And I hit the button, and he's like, oh fuck. And then here comes a boot, whack, right in the side of his fucking head.
Every time. I love how So the main thing that happened on my stream, like the most common thing where it all started, was Jaffa cakes being thrown at me. If you don't know what a Jaffa cake is, Google it. But a Jaffa cake gets thrown at me, and it is just escalated up from there. Were you on the other night, Rogue, or have you seen the video of the beans getting poured on my head?
I wasn't on. I think I was sleeping when you did that, but I did watch the video because I came in late, and when you said it, I was half awake, and I'm like, I thought I heard you say I had a can of beans thrown at my head. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's a bit far.
And I'm like, holy shit! I'm like looking at your wall, like, is there a fucking dent in it, or like, are you bleeding? But then I saw the clip of your boy pouring the beans on your head, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
So
We were a minute ago circling back really nicely onto nurse appreciation, which is related to COVID.
Mhm.
In the UK, are you aware of something that turned into a really controversial thing, which was on a Thursday at 8 o'clock during the first lockdown, 8 o'clock every night, everyone would walk out of their houses and clap for the NHS.
yes, I
I
did.
didn't know how far wide that would have reached.
No, I watched the videos. I cried like a fucking baby when I saw that.
Fucking incredible.
I,
Fucking incredible.
I was in my truck outside of a customer's house about to go announce I was on property, and I saw it, and I'm like out there, it's like, motherfucker, god damn it. And like I'm walking up, this like I'm wiping, like I got pesticides on my shirt and stuff, and I'm like rubbing it on my face, so my face is now burning. And they're like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just got sprayed in the face. I'm fine." And but yeah, like shit like that, because I'm trying to think what shift changes are here. It's 7.
It's not even a shift change. It's just 8 o'clock on a Thursday was the first time it happened, where everyone walked out and there's people with pots and pans smashing them together and clapping away. It was amazing. But it turned into a controversial thing, where people were slating it.
See, I didn't know it turned into a controversial thing. That should be something of like love and admiration and feel good. I could see it turning into a thing of going, all these people are just doing this so they get follows on Twitter or Instagram or some stupid shit like that.
It turned into people going, a clap's not fucking enough, and the NHS kind of going, or certain people within the NHS would actually go, why are you clapping for me? Like, fuck you, you're not helping us.
Yeah.
You're still going out and spreading it. If you want to actually do something for us, don't fucking get COVID. Like, I know you can't help it if anyone's got it, but my point being, wear a mask.
You can, no,
Don't go
you
up
can
around
kind of help it a little bit.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, which as well, I mean, masks. What's the situation for masks in the US
Fuck
now?
me. Oh, so I've told 2 people about this. My buddy from Puerto Rico, and then or 3. So Toby and Dustin, the guys I make stories about. My brother works in the medical industry. Actually, my brother and my sister-in-law, but they don't have to physically go in hospitals all that much. My brother does. He basically does stuff to help people into testing for all like cancer and it could be anything, right, like replacing a knee, like new surgeries and stuff, and that's what he does. So he does a lot of this remote. He will eventually, like, sometimes go to like the Ohio State University or University of West Virginia, but like further out, he won't take a plane right now. He refuses to do that, which
Sure.
I'm cool with. Now my sister-in-law, she does go in, but she's in medical sales. So right, if she does go into a hospital or a doctor's office, it's places where there won't be patients. So she has less of a chance of contracting it from work than I do. Like mine is very high of me contracting it. So I had a talk with my brother a little bit before Thanksgiving because and I know you guys are having huge discord over there about wearing masks. I know there's been protests and shit in London because I follow a handful of influencers there in the UK. One guy named Paul Brown. I think he's the president of the Cleveland Browns backers there in the UK, or at least London. And a few like YouTubers, like Ellen. Fuck, I forget her last name, but she's on like Outside Xbox and.
Oh right, yeah, I know what you mean.
So and I always see the shit about the NHS with her because she has health issues, and so. But I see because that Paul Brown has been in London, like not wearing a mask, so that kind of puts me off about him. But here, Ellen Rose, yeah. here it's been pretty good, even though like in my state, in my county, I'm in the capital of Ohio, is at the level purple, which is the highest COVID threat level that you can go.
Right. Okay. Talk me through the levels.
So it's like purple, orange, whatever. There's
I
two
love
other.
the way Americans say orange. Sorry.
To me, like the way you said orange isn't that much different, except for your stupid posh accent. You sound like a twat when you say it, but that's.
I sound like a twat when I say everything.
So for the most part, people are on board. Some people are so like drive around with fucking masks on, which is
pointless. Yeah.
Pointless.
Unless you've got public.
Unless you're like unless you're like an Uber driver or some shit.
Yeah. Understand that.
So for the most part, like, cause in Columbus, for the most part, people are pretty cool about it. Like out in public, like I go into customers' homes, they don't wear masks, and that's their home. I'm not going to tell them not to put a mask on. So I actually had a couple weeks ago. I went to the grocery to get some food and a liquor to review, and I go in, and most businesses, like, they have their signs posted at every fucking door. You must wear a mask when you enter, blah, blah, blah. Is it that way too there?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
All right.
I mean, I've got a little corner shop that's like 200-yard walk through a forest.
Mm-hmm.
It's out the other side, and you know, this is a tiny little shop, and even they've got signs everywhere.
So you're supposed to wear a mask, but employees are instructed not to say anything. So
yeah, I can understand that.
So round back to the conversation I was having with my brother about this is I'm going to start saying something, because these poor employees are forced to be put in danger in their public workspace with people that are being inconsiderate and dickheads. So I will do that for them. I think that I can do that as a social thing.
Someone who's willing to speak how they want to speak,
and I won't. Yeah, and I'm like, here's the thing: I'm not going to be a huge cock about it. I'm just going to like, hey, listen, over your mouth and your nose. And then if they proceed to be assholes from there, I'll get cheekier about it, and like people that wear the masks here, I'm like, oh, you believe in magic, huh? Because you think that's stopping what's coming out there. Yeah. So I'm in the grocery. This guy's wearing no fucking mask at all. Everyone else is. I'm like, fuck. Like I had a rough day.
Like, I know I'm gonna say something and I shouldn't.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, I got this. So, and I start walking up to him. He's at the meat counter, and the employee goes, "Hey, sir, you need to put a mask on." And I'm like, yes, fuck yes. So obviously this grocery told him that they can say it. I'm like, this makes me feel great about this. So that I start walking away, and I hear the guy go, "Hey man, I already talked to your fucking manager. He said I don't have to wear one. We had a conversation about this." And I go, "Oh, shit, fuck." So I'm like, I'm not gonna go yell at this guy, because for some reason the manager. So I steer clear. I'm going through the store. He manages to be near me a lot. I go check out. I'm at a self-service lane, and he's in the next lane from me. And another employee comes up and says the same shit to him. "Hey, sir, you need to have a mask on." So right. He starts hemming and hawing, and he goes, "I've had COVID 4 fucking times. I'm fine. I've been hospitalized. I don't need to wear a mask." And I just paid for my food, and I turn around and I go, "You need to have a mask on, you fucking piece of shit, because you keep getting it." And I go, "Fuck!" And I just walk out.
Yeah.
And everyone was dead silent. like dad just hit mom at the dinner table and there's guests over. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's like, "Holy fuck!" Like,
your nan just said cunt.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell that story. That's not a recorded story incident from what my nan said one time. But holy fuck, man. Like, that's... Granted, I shouldn't have blown up like that, but at that point, I was just so irate.
Sometimes you can't help it.
about this. I'm like, you've had it 4 fucking times. I go, we've only been in this 7 months. Like, oh, you're immune after 3 months or after you get it. No, you've obviously had it's mutated 4 times in your body. You fucking moron. Wear a mask because you're contagious. You like, oh, man,
Yeah.
like that's
Talking of mutation as well.
that's the thing. Like if you talk to any medical professional, it's like that's why we still have the flu. It's because it mutates because we were never able to stop it. And that's why we get flu shots every year. And
that's what COVID's going to become.
yeah, and
It's going to come back every year.
And until, like, I mean, granted, as a regular civilian, I probably wouldn't even be able to get a vaccinated shot until probably maybe 4 or 5 months from now. So, because they're doing like we said, we talked a bit in your stream about it is what should be done, and what they are doing is they're doing doctors, nurses, patients. They're also unfortunately doing politicians that have been denying COVID the entire time. Let those cunts get it. Let those fucking cunts get it. Fuck them. No, you denied it the whole time. Fuck off. You're one of the last. Huh?
Tells me which side you're on, which I was interested with.
Well, what'd you think though? What side did you think I was on?
I didn't know. I honestly didn't. I was like, could go either way. But knowing where you were from, I assumed Biden.
If I would have voted,
where you live.
Okay. But my state went Trump though.
But how many votes by?
Oh.
I think it was a slim one, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
I could be wrong. Oh, wasn't it? Okay.
No. I remembered looking. It was it wasn't something small. It was like, yeah, he kind of got it. But
you will know way more about American politics than I will.
Yeah, and it's the same with you guys. Like I have a very loose understanding of your politics. A little bit of what goes on.
So does the Prime Minister, mate.
Yeah, your Prime Minister is just another version, is the English version of fucking Trump, as far as I understand.
The best thing that has happened with having Trump and Boris Johnson is that Trump is an English word for fart, and Johnson is an American word for penis.
Dick, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
We've got a penis running our country, and you've got hot air running yours.
Oh, yeah, and that's what he is. For the most part, I fucking hate salesmen. And that's what he is. Like, he
is an intelligent businessman by going for the dirty tactic of go for the seat states rather than the vote, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in US history it's been won that way 3 times, and one of the other ones was by Bush.
Yeah, that's I would have been able to vote his first time he became president. So and I chose not to vote in that one because I don't believe in the Electoral College.
So many don't, from what I hear.
Well, it's like everything that here in the United States that we're believed, like even like in school, like when we have like class president, it's the majority vote. You know what I mean? We're not voting per classroom. It's the entire student body. And we're to believe that in a democratic thing is the majority vote wins. But then when you get into high school, which would be, I believe, primary for you guys.
No. So high school would be secondary.
Secondary? Primary is college, right?
No. Primary is
early education.
Like my son, who is 6, is in primary school. And he will be in primary school till he is... Well, right. Okay, it's going to be a bit complicated here, but parts of the country have 3 schools.
Yeah.
And parts of the country have 2 schools. So where I grew up, you had primary school, which was between the ages of 4 and I think it's 11 or 12-ish. and then you have secondary school, which is from 12 to about 16 to 18, depending on the school, and then you have Then you have college.
University. Yeah.
Sorry, so you have college, which is 16 to 18. Apologies, I say. So my school had what's called sixth form, which is where the school does the college as well. So they do 12 to 16, and then sixth form, 16 to 18, which is college,
Mm-hmm.
and then 18 plus is university.
Now it seems like you guys go more by
University
age.
college, right?
Well, say I didn't pick up what you just said, and then I'll say what I said.
So I'll go through one. Between 4 and 11, you have primary.
Oh no, your last bit.
So 18 plus is university.
Okay.
Which I believe for you guys is college,
Yeah.
like Yale College, Harvard College.
Mm-hmm. Kent State, Ohio State, the Ohio State. Yeah.
So they're just called universities in the UK. So Oxford or Cambridge are probably the two you've heard of.
Yeah.
University.
Definitely.
But some places have primary, middle, and secondary, which is just stupid. I say this because my wife had that, but stupid.
So here, it seems like you guys go more on age than.
It's purely on age.
Okay, so here it's
you can get held back and all sorts, can't you?
Oh yeah, but it's by grade. It's called grades. So so it's elementary school, which would be from kindergarten to 5th grade.
So that's primary for us.
Yes. So then there's middle school, which is 6 to.
We don't necessarily have that.
Which is 6 to.
11?
6 to 8th grade, and then high school, which is 9th to 12th grade. So that's where, and you generally
And then from high you go into college.
correct. So and you generally graduate at 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's a general when you graduate, unless you're fucking super smart, then you graduate earlier. But you can get held back. But you have to be pretty fucking smart to get through, for the most part, to graduate early or have the smarts and the drive to do it.
Yeah, sure.
But after that, like, university is up to you if you want to do it. And it's
so
very
college
expensive.
is up for us as well. So technically, when you leave school at 16, free to do what you want. Technically. Most, I don't know if it's most. I was going to say most people go to college, but I don't think that's right, actually.
That's kind of funny. Like, I thought you guys got done with your high school earlier than we did.
Yes, our high school is 16.
Yeah.
So we have college and then university. So we have like an extra step.
Okay.
Whereas your high school goes all the way up to university.
See, now we have university, which would be college. Then we have continuing education, where you would get your master's degree. So university
that would just still be a university.
Yeah, so it goes. You get your BA, your Bachelor's of Associates.
Yep.
Your master's, and then after that you go
You
for
can
your
get other
doctorates.
masters.
You get other masters, or you can get doctorates in whatever the fuck you want. I'm thinking about starting something
Did you
on
go to college or
mustaches.
anything?
Yeah, I went to college. Yeah, I went to Kent State University. You know, you ever heard that song?
You study?
Well, actually, I started at Hawking Technical College, and I started on computer programming.
Mm-hmm.
I found out writing was more of my niche. So then
That is a word that you guys say wrong. I'm sorry.
niche.
Niche,
Niche.
not niche.
I said niche. I didn't put a T in there.
I was quite I did find that quite interesting because I was like, oh, a third way of saying it.
Now,
But anyway, carry on.
Now, like, if I think, like, when that word, like, I usually say niche, but if I'm just, like, rolling on, I'll say it however it just rolls through my brain, but...
Depends on how much whiskey, right?
Right. So, this is a liter, by the way. I drink up to there Thursday night. So, so, I I found out writing was a little bit more of my thing, so then I changed my major to journalism. I actually did very well in psychology and sociology, and then in my last year to graduate, I dropped out. Because I was a pretty bad addict at that point, so I kind of just went into the working world and found my place there. So,
what do you think for me?
What I think for you now, you've talked to me about being a chef, and you said you no longer did that. So after that, because you never really talk about what you do. An office setting. That's it. I never.
Oh yeah, I'm an office setting, but I mean, education-wise, what do you think?
Education-wise, specialty school. So like to learn to be a cook. That's it. Like a technical school, like we would have here.
Did not do university.
You just learned it.
And I never went to university. So when I finished school, I went to college for 2 years, and I did business studies, IT, and photography. Believe it or not. I then, when I was at college, I was part-time chefing at a restaurant that was 3 miles away, and I would go in between lessons and do the lunch shift at the restaurant. When I left college, they offered me the head chef job. So at that point, I was 17, and I was a head chef of a 4-chef kitchen. And I was like, shit, can't really turn that down. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go to uni, didn't know nothing really. So I took it, and the missus, who I was already with.
I was about to ask if you were with her at this point.
Yeah, I was with her. I'd probably only been with her, well, if I was 17, I'd been with her 2.5 years.
That's pretty good. The longest I've gone is a year, so with anyone.
We've been together since we were 14.
Fuck.
Yeah, just riddle that one for a moment.
Yeah, no, I'm good. But she's a lovely woman, though. She is pretty cool, so you are lucky. It's awesome you guys have that relationship.
It's my greatest success. But yeah, I took the chef job, and she ended up working and running the front of the house. So then we hated the managers with a passion because she was a fucking raving lunatic. And I really mean that.
Like your wife or the manager?
Both. No. My wife is in a nice way. The manager was in a... There's a real problem there. You may be able to see the top, which reads Glastonbury.
Glastonbury, yeah.
So the restaurant.
That's where that festival's at, right?
Yeah. So
that's a bucket list thing for me. I would like to, if we ever get back to a normal world, just go to the Glastonbury Festival.
I've worked there for like 10 to 13-ish years. Not worked every single one, but most of them. I've worked at least 10.
That doesn't sound fun.
It's a free ticket, and I do 18 hours.
Okay, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's
Saves
worth
me
it.
250 quid, and I get backstage access in certain places.
Yeah, were you there? I don't know. I've been watching or listening to a lot of 21 Pilots lately, and I think there's a
This is a Christmas song. Have you heard it?
No, it's not a Christmas song. They do "Don't Look Back in Anger," and I don't know if it's at that festival.
That was at Leeds. Was that
Leeds? Okay.
Reading. It was Reading or Leeds. They're the other two big British festivals.
Yeah.
It's got Leeds, Reading, but Glastonbury is like twice the size of both of them.
Do you know where they're from?
21 Pilots?
Yeah.
Of course I fucking do. Ohio.
Yeah, from Columbus.
Yeah.
So, no, but
I'm obviously a Cleveland fan, mate.
Yes, yes.
So, I have to be. But yeah, we were chefing at this restaurant. I hated the manager. She was a raving lunatic. Now, I have the fondest respect for hippies, but she was a hippie in the way that she believed in absolutely anything anyone told her, which then meant that her boyfriend took a lot of money away from her by turning half of the restaurant into an art gallery for his art that was terrible, and he sold nothing, and the restaurant was suffering. Louise and I started applying. Bearing in mind we were 17, we started applying for live-in assistant management roles in pubs. We applied for one and we got it, and that was further down south. So we were assistant managers of a pub at the age of 17, and then we moved even further down south, moving from pub to pub, and ran pubs for a long time. I got fed up of doing the hours because I'm a chef, but I also can run a cellar, so I can look after ale, etc. I can also do the front of house, and my missus can do all of it as well. But I just got fed up of it and went, I want a desk job where I can earn the same money doing 9 to 5, so I can actually see her outside of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now explain.
That's my background.
If I had to guess,
Yeah.
what live-in means is you probably living in an apartment or a flat in or super close to the pub.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't pay for your accommodation. You don't pay for it. There's your house. You live there. You work in the pub, which means that you've got absolutely fuck all outgoings, and they ended up being our university years or our college years, because we would spend a lot of time drinking.
No,
is a story.
It's not like you guys drink much anyway. Wait, so you're telling me as an Englishman, you don't drink a lot already?
See, that's a misconception. Can you not tell by my accent that I am not a typical Englishman as you may see it in terms of a football hooligan drinking themselves stupid from Manchester? I love Manchester. I was actually born near it, but anyway.
God, what the fuck? I just had something to my tongue. That's what Ginner sounds more of a
So he's from Yorkshire.
Football.
He's Yorkshire. So he's further up north. I am a northerner, but I have no accent. So just hear me out for a minute.
In comparison, in country.
No, what I mean is, if most British people that would speak to me would say I don't have an accent. So I don't have a Geordie accent. So my wife, born and bred Somerset. So Somerset, also known as the West Country, is where farmers come from. So she sometimes will speak. Where's he to then? Where's he been? Eh? How you doing? And she's like proper farmer. She'll roll her R's. Massey Ferguson.
So you start delving more into an Irish accent on the West.
It's closer to Irish.
Yeah.
But you think in England, right? You've got Scottish accent. Well, in UK, sorry, you've got Scottish accent, Welsh accent, Irish accent. Then you've got Newcastle, which is Geordie, which is why man, that accent.
Yeah.
You've got Yorkshire accent. You've got Brummie. There you go, Newcastle ale. You got Brummie from Birmingham. I can't do accents. This is terrible. But I don't have an accent, and it's because my father is from a place called Stoke-on-Trent, and my mother is from a place called Reading.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of Reading before.
Reading's just outside of London.
Okay.
And Stoke-on-Trent's near Manchester, but they both speak properly. Controversial comment, but it means I speak
proper English. Yeah. So you're not like that. Fuck, like the Waterman slang. Just so now.
Are you on about when you say Waterman slang? Do you mean Cockney rhyming?
Yes, Cockney. Yes, that's what I forgot. I couldn't think of Cockney. So
Cockney rhyming slang.
A couple years ago when I could have went to the UK, my buddy, one of them I talk about, I'm not gonna say which one's which because his uncle is a gangster, or was at least. He may still be, so I'm not gonna. He got extradited from the United States like 30 years ago, for allegedly maybe killing a cop. So, here in the United States, and so I've spoken with him, and he's that super. He lives in the southeast end of London.
Southeast end. South end, yeah.
And it's just that, it might, you know,
Oh, mate,
throwing
how you doing?
innits in it, and it's just like, oh, you're fucking corn in it, and I'm like,
Don't go up those apple and pears.
I'm just like, so that's
Apples and pears stairs, I believe.
because because I have English, Irish, Scottish blood in me, so like I've always like enjoyed like your guys' slangs and shit like that. So like that's why I don't get.
We've got some corkers.
So I don't.
Oh, that's a video we should do, Ro. We should do comparing English and American terms and phrases.
Oh, I'm down with it.
I'm well up doing a video on that.
So that's why I don't have too much trouble when you say shit that are in when you talk about shoes or you go, oh, crisp. I'm like, I know what crisps are. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's like stupid shit like that. I know mostly. Like, I mean, I try to be worldly as much as I can. Like, I used to be able to speak Spanish fluently, but I haven't had to speak it in 7 years. So it's like,
yeah,
it's pretty much gone. I can hold a very small conversation with people if you speak like any sort of like romance language, Latin. Like I can, like some people, like Portuguese, I have a little bit more trouble with. But if someone spoke Italian to me, I'd get probably 3/4 of the conversation. But I've always enjoyed just getting outside of the country. Like the United States is so big that like if you go to a couple states over, you might as well be going to another fucking country.
well, that's it. Interestingly, when you were speaking earlier about you don't understand the sorry, roping back, but UK politics, it's not that different because you have states, we have counties. A county is a state.
Well, we have counties inside states.
Yeah, we have districts, if you like, or not districts, but cities or boroughs or councils, technically. So, for instance, I live in Dorset, but my council is Purbeck. So, and that would be the same for you, in terms of you having a state and a council.
Yeah, like technically I'm in Columbus, but I'm in Reynoldsburg, which is part of Columbus. I have no problem saying where I'm at. If someone wanted to be a dick and come knock on my door, it's not in their best interest.
But that's it. Like in the UK, you can go from one town to another, and they will sound completely different.
Now,
completely different.
You can go from here in Ohio, which in the Midwest, the Cleveland accent is actually what they teach for broadcasters, people on the radio, TV, because it's the most neutral of the accents. Now, I've been mistaken from being from the Northeast of the United States. Like, are you from Maine or Boston? I'm like, no. I'm like, because there's certain words I say, like Coolidge. Like, people go, oh, you say Coolidge. I go, to me, it's college. I don't. So people from Cleveland, I was born in Cleveland. I grew up an hour east of it. But for some reason, I picked up a Northeastern accent somewhere along the way. I don't know why or how. Now, as an adult, I can tell you this: the more I talk to like you or Ginner, like, or I hear you talk, I will mimic what you say and your accents.
Yeah.
Not cognitively. I just do it because of what I do.
Mine.
Yeah, yours is a little harder. Because it's I don't know. Ginner, like I did. I did it when we were playing Among Us the other night. I did Ginner's like, oh fuck.
You were quite good. You
were
quite good with that.
So
you say about yours is like the accent that broadcasters would teach. So in the UK, that's called a BBC accent. BBC accent.
All right.
That is what people would say I have, if anything.
Yeah,
anything.
You're very neutral. Like to me, your accent for the UK seems very neutral to me.
It is. Yeah.
You're not heavy on like. There's no words where I'm like, oh, what the fuck did he just say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I hear everything. Like, now your wife. Like when I hear your wife talk from time to time, she does have a stronger, a regional accent, wherever she's from.
Yeah. She has a West Country accent. It's not strong, by any means, but there is some. Have you heard of? I'm really racking my brain. So, have you heard of the two Ronnies?
It sounds familiar.
They are two British comedians. One of them has passed, but I'm trying to remember. So they do like sketches. So have you heard of Morecambe and Wise?
No.
That maybe you would have. Oh, I'm not good. Right. Okay.
I may have. Maybe I just don't know.
So I'm gonna send you a link. You need to watch these two guys.
Okay.
Yokels. That's it. So if you type in two Ronnies, Yokels, which is YOKELS. Just when you get a minute, just watch that. Okay?
Yeah, I'll do it off.
That's the
recording
West Country accent.
Okay. Yeah, because one of my biggest things that I fell in love with your guys' accents, because of course growing up we all hear each other's accents from movies and TV shows and shit like that. Sure. Is
why are we always villains in your films?
It's because your accent. That's it. Why is everyone on the Death Star have an English accent except for Darth Vader and Palpatine?
Yeah.
Because you're evil, but not that evil. And it's the same thing. Like, why is everyone with like a Southern accent like a fucking dumb shit? For Americans, like everyone, I can do like a Southern, like there's like below Appalachia, which is the south end of Ohio. That's where the South comes from.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey y'all want a Coke? I fucking hate colored people. And it's like, oh,
everything's stretched and elongated, y'all.
Yeah, and then there's the Texas accent. It's very jovial and kind of short, but sometimes elongated. You guys like brisket? No, I hate Mexicans. How y'all doing? Like that's, and then you get to California and it's just super,
just LA movie kind of.
Yeah. But the movie where I really started deep diving into like UK accents and actually football hooligans was Green Street Hooligans.
Oh yeah, Green Street.
That's such a great fucking movie, by the way.
Great film.
Great film. I used to walk around just singing. What was their football team?
Yeah. Hold on. Because I was trying to remember the name of it.
Yeah.
There's 3 of those films now.
I didn't watch the other 2 because I feel like they're probably not as good.
Just don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
If you like Green Street, have you seen Mean Machine?
I haven't seen Mean Machine, no.
That's worth a laugh. It's very, very different, but I feel like you'd appreciate it.
That's probably where I picked up on a lot of your guys' slang is Green Street Hooligans.
Are you on about West Ham?
West Ham, yeah. Like Forever Blowing Bubbles.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that really their song?
As far as I know. I'm not a massive football follower, as you know.
You're more of
pretty sure it is.
You're more of a rugby guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, rugby. Rugby is a thugs game played by gentlemen, and football is a gentleman's game played by thugs. I'm not a big supporter of football as a sport. Soccer. Apologies.
Soccer.
Soccer.
See, that's odd. You're to an American.
I put an accent on. I would call it soccer.
Soccer. That is an anomaly as an American speaking to an Englishman that you'd rather rugby over football.
You're not speaking to the right Brits then. This is a very controversial comment I'm about to make, but people that speak like me are more likely to like rugby. Let's just leave it there.
That makes sense. I mean, football is huge over here, but you have every walks of life that love football or hate football, like American football. I used to play it for fuck's sake. I had a chance to go play in the MAC for college, and I turned it down. I wouldn't have went anywhere with it, but
it is their song, by the way.
Okay.
I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles, West Ham. Yeah, I was just checking.
Like I said, I used to walk around when I was hammered at the bars at university and just like I'd just sing it, and people were like, I had a couple people knew why I was doing it, but everyone's like, was that dude fucking retarded or something? Like, I'm like, and I'd be like, but
you need to watch Mean Machine.
Right.
It's not a street gang thing. It's another football film, but it's do you know who? Fuck, I'm trying to remember his name now. This is gonna drive me a little bit mad. Do you know who Vinnie Jones is?
Yes, I love Vinnie Jones. He's in a lot of Guy Ritchie films.
If you love Vinnie Jones, go and watch Mean Machine.
Okay.
So Vinnie Jones was a professional footballer
Really?
in the UK.
He seems too fucking big to be a footballer.
Oh, you get some big guys in football. I mean, Peter Crouch. Don't know how tall he is, but he's big. But he's a stick insect.
But Vinny's a fucking
Vinnie
just
Jones is a big
shit
guy.
brick house, though.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was just checking my comment, make sure. Yeah. Vincent Peter Jones. English actor, producer, singer, presenter, and former professional footballer. Played as a defensive midfielder between 1984 and 1999, so he played it for a long time as well. Notably for Wimbledon and Leeds United, Sheffield United, Chelsea, and Queen's Park Rangers. Fuck me, how old do you think he is?
Vinny?
There's a guess. I mean, I've already said 2 dates as well. So
They were in one ear out the other. I'm gonna say he's 62.
55. 55.
Okay.
I would have gone older as well.
Because I'm trying to think of like how old he was when he did like Lock, Stock.
Another great film.
Oh, people shit on Guy Ritchie films so fucking much.
He had some brilliant ones and he had some not so good ones.
His latter ones, like Rock and Roller or whatever, like I watched like the first 20 minutes. And I'm like, I like Gerald Butler, but I like him better as an American than I do as a.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Gerald Butler, stick to your rom-coms, you know.
Yeah.
But a few names that you would know that are in Mean Machine. You got Vinnie Jones, you've got Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And you've got Danny Dyer. So he is now in. Danny Dyer, his accent is about as London as it gets.
Okay. I'm gonna look him up
He's
if I
in
see his face.
now. You'll know his face from what's his? Oh, which was the biggest one of his films? I'm trying to remember. The Business. That was a big one for him. The Football Factory. There's another one.
His face looks so fucking familiar, but I can't. What do I know him from?
Oh, fuck, which film is it? There's gonna be one I'm trying to think.
By the way, I've never watched EastEnders.
No, don't. I don't. Don't bother.
Isn't that like your guys' thing though? Like you're supposed to watch it? Is that a net?
No. Again, people that speak like me don't. I sound like such a snob, and people are going to have a real problem with this. I'm sorry.
Fuck me.
I'm not like that. I'm just doing it for comedic value, I promise.
No, don't worry. Anyone that's made it this far, he's a proper twat.
Yeah, I'm a complete asshole. So. There's another big film that he was in, which I cannot find now. But The Football Factory is probably another one. But yeah, if you like Vinnie Jones, go and watch Mean Machine.
Mean Machine.
I think you'll enjoy it. It's not as good as Green Street, but it's good.
Green Street's just a great fucking film. My one of my best friends, and I haven't talked to him in years. I still consider him my best friend. Actually, I didn't talk to him. Like I tried. So this little sidebar. Like over the years, yeah, and that's why I told you. I go, we'll probably just go off on tangents, and this is what I want because we get more into our meat and bones of who we are if we just go off and talk about random shit because it feels more like a conversation. Sure. But my mate, like we were super close. We spent we get off work like 10 o'clock at night, fucking party till like 7 in the morning. Just get fucking retarded drunk, doing whatever. Then he got a girlfriend. He moved to Florida, and he really hasn't talked to us since then. Now he's had cancer, and he's most straight edge guy now. Like he never smoked or really did drugs. He was in MMA. Like he started doing like semi-pro MMA fights. And he was like just best shape of his life, and then he just got lung cancer just randomly.
Shit.
At 28 years old. He beat it. Like he came home to the Cleveland Clinic, which is one of the best hospitals you could be at for that shit. And I went and saw him one day after his chemo. It was hard, but I went and saw friends within hours of them passing from other shit. So that's the last time I ever saw him, and that was almost a decade ago. Now what blew my mind is he actually contacted me a couple days after the shit that happened to me because we both had tubes in our chest, and he's just like, hey man, we got another thing in common. He just wanted to make sure I was okay, and he almost came home to see me, which, dude, I cried like a bitch when he said that. If he would have showed up, I probably would have had a heart attack.
Both meet and just drop dead. Both.
Yeah, my heart would have just stopped again. But anyways, he's the one that introduced me to Green Street Hooligans.
Right.
And he's the type of guy that I would never thought would have happened, because he's I don't know about if he's into this shit now, but like super metalhead, Slipknot, Fear Factory, just fucking hard black, every metal that you can think of. We used to go to metal shows all the time, and just like we go in the pit and fuck people up. We'd come out with broken noses or tooth missing, and we'd just be bloody, and we loved it. We fucking lived it. But he's the one who showed me Green Street Hooligans, and we just like, it was super weird for that guy to show.
I thought of another film you need to check then,
okay,
which is Snatch. And I know where your mind could be going if you haven't seen it.
I've seen it.
I imagine you have.
I've seen it.
And
I like Snatch.
good. I'm just checking.
That's one of Guy Ritchie's good films.
I'm gonna clip that. I like Snatch.
I like Snatch. And if you don't like Snatch, good on you too. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking whatever floats your boat, man.
You wanna like.
Some dudes like getting hit with fucking cakes in the face, or
Hey,
biscuits. Some people like getting hit with biscuits. Like, for any you English.
Oh, that's another term. How can you call a scone a biscuit? Oh, biscuit. So when you have like gravy and biscuits down in the south,
yeah,
that's a scone or scone.
So a biscuit's a scone.
Yeah.
I feel like there's
my
different.
understanding is a biscuit, like a gravy and a biscuit.
Uh-huh.
It's quite sweet, isn't it?
A little bit. It's buttery. Like, you taste the sweetness of the butter.
Yeah, it's a scone.
Okay, fair enough. It just
Sorry.
See, now it is odd to me that you call cookies biscuits. Because
we'd call them cookie or a biscuit, really.
I mean,
So we would call other biscuits, but a cookie we would probably call a cookie. So basically, if it has chocolate chips in it, it's a cookie.
Okay.
Everything else, that's
It's a biscuit. Got it. So like an Oreo is a biscuit.
Yeah, that's. I mean, some could call that a cookie. I wouldn't. Most people here would call that a biscuit.
Okay.
Most people here would call that a biscuit.
Chris,
If it's doughy with chocolate chips in it,
it's a cookie. Like, crisp makes sense. Like, you should be able to say it to anyone, and so if someone you want a crisp, and you go, okay, that makes sense.
yeah, it's a crisp.
Yeah, it's a fried something. It's a chip. Like, we just call them chips here. Like, doesn't matter if they're like Doritos or Lay's or some stupid shit like that. But the biscuit thing has always been kind of weird to me. But I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So I meant to ask you. You asked me earlier what I was drinking. I didn't ask you what you're drinking.
Well, you know what? For the last 45 minutes, I've been staring at an empty glass that needs refilling. So,
Yeah, the missus
give
is
me a
not
moment. Yeah, I can't whip the missus to get it.
there.
He only does that when she. I only do that when she asks.
Yeah. So this would be the time. This because he's up. I'll link any socials for both of us in the description below. So I'll get his new rebranded shit from him as the videos go up. But I figured since he was away, I would say I'll link whatever our socials and his rebrands and shit are for when this video goes live.
So, over Christmas, I've been drinking a varied mix, but mainly gin over Christmas and ale. I've drunk quite a lot of ale, but tonight I went for some cider. Stowford Press.
Stowford. I almost thought it was a Strongbow.
No, Stowford Press. Strongbows.
However, I've had Strongbow a few times, and it's just like bland. It's very.
Yeah, it's not. Stowford Press is nicer. But I've been drinking this. We got gifted this, which we started last night, which is a gin called Mermaid Gin. It's weird, but I want to see if you can see it.
I see it through the back. Yeah.
Do you see the
titty? Yeah.
See the boobie?
Yeah.
Mermaid Gin.
Nice.
It's good.
So I just like getting more deep dive into the whiskeys that I've been. I've learned, and just and interactions with you, and this made me look up more shit. Is how much your country is into gin.
Oh, we love our gin. Do you know what? I learned a fact about whiskey over Christmas, actually, from my dad. Scotland, and I could be getting the percentages wrong here, but I think he said that 85% of Scotland's export is whiskey.
Scotch.
85% is whiskey. And I was like, fuck. I imagine the other 15% is probably salmon. Other than that, that's all they got.
I could see the salmon. Here's the thing. I am convinced that 80%. Well, actually, I know there's a lot of like the Highlands and shit up there, but usable land in Scotland is all Scotch distilleries.
Yeah.
And there's a few
Very
houses.
Much. Although you say usable lands, I mean Scotland's got something like 300 islands. It's a ridiculous amount.
Now there's 3 different types of scotches. There's Islay and then 2 others. I'm not real familiar. I'm not too familiar with Scotch. I do drink it, but it's one of my more favorite types of whiskey.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking you what you're drinking on is because how many types of whiskey do you think there are?
Oof. A lot, actually. A lot more than you'd think. Are you including, like, sweet liqueur types as well?
Name...
For instance, could you include Baileys?
No.
Which is technically a whiskey. I wouldn't.
No.
I'm asking if you are.
No, that's a cream. That's a liquor. That'd be a liqueur. So
it is, yeah.
So it wouldn't be a whiskey.
But some people would say, "Oh, it's whiskey," and it's like
for anything to be a whiskey, it has to touch the inside of an oak barrel, and that's, I believe, at least
probably has. I reckon.
Yeah, I think that's actually
they add it.
A world standard. I think.
Oh shit! Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I thought I could hear the child, but I can't. How many types of whiskey would I say?
Without looking up, what do you know?
I'm not looking up.
Because I know what the majority of what you have in your country is.
What? Right. I need you to define type. You're not talking brand. You're talking different forms of whiskey.
Correct.
Yeah, maybe it's less than I think. I'm gonna throw a wild guess because I reckon it could be. It's either gonna be really high or it's gonna be like 12, something like that.
I don't have a definite number, but I think.
Oh,
I don't think. Because when I've talked with, like, the very few times I've talked with you about whiskeys, you always talk about Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I know you guys have...
But there's more than one type of Scotch.
Yes. There's 3 different... From what I know, there's 3 different types of Scotches. Now, actually, let me answer the question first, and then I'll get to the point I'm making, because there's a reasoning for I'm asking you the question, and it's just a cultural country difference.
If we were to Google it, I would go in the 80 region, but I think if we were to name it, I'd go between 12 and 16.
Okay, name the whiskeys that you know, like the type of whiskeys that you know of.
Oh fucking hell! You're gonna test me.
Yes, I am. I meant to sideswipe you on this one.
Okay, well. Obviously Scotch, bourbon, but the 3 types of Scotch.
That you don't need to do that. Scotch is good enough.
Okay.
That's getting a little too deep in that.
Scotch, bourbon, Irish, blended, spiced, because that does count. Japanese. I know these are like, they are different types.
Yeah.
But malt, of course. I know you're going to say lots of different types of bourbon, because technically there are.
No, bourbon's bourbon.
Yeah, but there are different types of bourbon. There's different types of malt.
No. Bourbon's bourbon. There's a certain way every single one of them is distilled that makes them whatever they are.
Right.
A bourbon. I'm gonna stay to that because you said that already. I don't want to give other shit away.
Grain whiskey, rye whiskey. Did you get barley whiskey? Probably not. As a separate one. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm literally envisaging the different bottles of whiskey. It's single pot whiskey, which I've had before.
I've had one. I'm not a fan. I
didn't like it.
I reviewed it one on my channel. I want to try other ones, but maybe I just had a bad brand.
How many have I named?
Huh?
How many have I named? You could argue. Now, I would just call it a bourbon, but you could argue Tennessee whiskey is different.
It is.
Yeah, I would just call it a bourbon though.
Probably that is considered a sour mash.
Yeah. But yeah, sour mash. I'm saying sour mashes, but you could say sour mash is a type.
It is a type.
Yeah, but you get what I mean.
I don't have a sour mash bottle on my desk right now.
Obviously, just the various different types of malt. Yeah, I'm probably done. 9 is probably where I'd sit.
Okay.
When I think about it, I'd probably go, there's 9 types of whiskey.
And what do you usually see when you go to your liquor store?
A lot of whiskey.
Like what types? Like,
so we would mainly see malt. We'd mainly see
single
malt, bourbon, or Scotch.
Okay. How like
they're the main 3, or blended, probably.
Well, Irish whiskeys are more blended. Irish whiskeys almost
but
always
Irish
are
and blended are 2 different things in my eyes.
As yes and no. Like I'll agree with you on that one.
Depends on the bottle. Depends on the brand, really. But what I'm saying is,
like,
you will see all the different types of malt. So you'll see your single malts, your various different malts. You'll see your different bourbons. You'll see your different scotches. You'll probably see a few blended. Obviously, you'll see Tennessee because of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Call that a bourbon.
I know you guys get Jack Daniels, and I know you guys get Bullet over there.
Yeah, we get a lot more than you think of it.
Oh yeah,
it's a big thing.
Just like you told me about that one Scotch. Like I can't.
Jura.
Jura. Like I've been trying to find it because I want to do it real bad.
Well, maybe I'll send you a bottle, mate. I'll send you one. I'll get one sent to you. I think it's 9. Now that I'm saying them out loud, I would say 9.
Okay.
Types.
Because I'm kind of curious because like you're always like all the whiskeys you've ever shown me have either been a single malt or a Scotch. So
that's just through taste.
Yeah, through taste.
That's just through taste.
Like how much like bourbon wise, like what's your experience with that?
I wouldn't drink bourbon really.
Really?
Nah, doesn't do it for me. Anything that I've got to mix, which I think bourbon is really for mixing more than most.
I think sour mashes are, in my opinion, are more of a mixing.
I would agree that sour mash more, but if I were to buy a bourbon, it would be to mix.
Now, how often do you drink gin? I know you don't really drink straight because I've tried Aviator gin.
I would only ever drink whiskey straight.
Yeah.
I would only ever drink whiskey straight. I wouldn't mix it. I actually don't like it mixed. So I would never. So
you've never had like a Jack and Coke? I'm sure you've had a Jack and Coke.
I've had one, but I don't enjoy it. I just don't. If I have a Jack and Coke, all I'm thinking is, I'd rather have a whiskey.
What about whiskey sour? Man,
I'd have one.
Yeah,
I'd have one, but if I'm gonna have whiskey, I'll have it in one of 3 ways: straight, with a bit of water, or with ice.
Okay.
That's it.
I usually like when you see me drinking. 99% of the time there's no ice or anything in it.
Yeah.
I prefer bourbons because there's a certain flavor I always look for, and it's like the wood. Like I like the harsh wood. Like what I'm drinking right now, I didn't review this just because I've drank it so much. I'll eventually do it. Like this.
Yep.
This gets super. Actually, the more you drink it, it gets super. The flavors come out more. This is one of the few ones I will either put an ice ball in the glass, or I'll put 1 or 2 cubes in it. I don't want to water down the alcohol that too much. But,
see, I sometimes think, depending on the whiskey, that the water helps bring it out more.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Like,
there are certain whiskeys it does.
Yeah, like this one, you gotta water this motherfucker down.
Oh, you got half and half that almost.
Yeah, it's 114 proof.
Yeah.
But like I was kind of curious because you're always like drinking like single malt or scotches. That
it's just preference, mate.
Preference,
just
okay. And and it's a different country, and we're bigger on like the bourbons over here, definitely. Just as a collective country. And then
I think if you were to put a pin in it, we're malt.
Yeah, definitely more of a single malt country, and then I think you guys delve probably into scotches too, though, just because it's part of almost
like one of the
culture.
most common scotches you'll see here is one called Famous Grouse.
I've heard of it.
I don't rate it. I mean, I've got a bottle of it here, but I don't rate it. I'll grab the bottle if you want to see. But I think it's unopened as well. I've probably got 4 or 5 whiskeys in my cupboard right now.
Okay.
And I would guess one would be Tennessee. Probably one Scotch and 3 malts. That would be my guess.
Okay. You know, most whiskeys are distilled in Tennessee, right?
When you say most,
I would say the big ones you think of. Like, there's a thing called the Bourbon Trail. Have you ever heard of it?
Nope.
Okay, so in Tennessee, it's literally, and I've been up and down it for work when I used to work across the Midwest and some other places, it has all the big and obscure distillers of whiskey. It's literally miles and miles. Like, look it up. Of distillers, whiskey distillers. And one of the biggest reasons why is Tennessee has a weird salt
right? Okay.
in their natural well springs that gives it a distinct flavor. So when Prohibition happened here in the United States, and a lot of the alcohol makers went down to Mexico, whiskey, especially Jack Daniel's, whiskey tasted different because they were getting water from like the Gulf of Mexico. And so what they were doing is they were getting water from these natural well springs to take down to make their whiskeys because it changed the flavor that much. And part of it, and that's why there's so many whiskey distillers in Tennessee.
I see. I'm looking it up.
Yeah. So now Jack Daniel's,
Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Yeah. Jack Daniel's is over the years, and especially since I've stopped smoking, I can't stand the taste of it anymore.
It's god awful. Jack Daniel's is not a good whiskey.
I think it's a mixing whiskey. If you want to get down to it.
Yeah, because to me, I'd call it a bourbon. I know it's a Tennessee, but I'd say it's a bourbon, and I'd say you should only ever drink that mixed.
That is a sour. It's a sour mash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of sour mashes straight. Like, those are what I think are mixable whiskeys. It tastes like fucking bananas. And I think that's probably why you don't like it.
We know how I would feel.
Yes, you're a huge fan of bananas.
Yes, fucking horrible.
I always miss it. I always miss when you're eating the fucking bananas.
Oh, mate, it's horrible. It's a real problem for me. Like, I actually can't make it through one. So I just steering away from bananas because I fucking hate them. So I've googled types of whiskey, and I think I named them all. You know,
you got pretty close.
That was great. Yeah, I'm looking at them all, and they're all there.
Now there's wheated, which I think maybe that's what you're saying, barley.
Well, no. So So it doesn't list barley or wheated as a type, but it says you can have a malt made with more wheat, or a malt made with more barley, or
It's
a
just
sour
like
made
rye.
with more wheat.
It's like
Yeah,
rye whiskey.
exactly.
You just have to have
But
like
rye and grain are two separate ones
yeah. So
because you have to. It's got an explanation of why here.
uh, fuck. I would say if you can find it. If not, maybe I'll send you a bottle. But there's a Cleveland wheated bourbon called Larceny.
Right.
The first time I ever had it, it actually made me sick.
Oh God.
But I think that's when I was still smoking. I mean, there was a reason for that. But
If I may, on that subject, did you go cold turkey with smoking?
yeah,
Because you didn't really have a choice, or
I could have. They.
it was more of the shock of it made you.
Yeah, to go through what I went through, it was an easy decision.
Yeah, sure.
I can't.
How hard was it?
I want a cigarette right now.
Yeah.
I'm almost on 2 years, and I want a cigarette every fucking day.
Is that bad? Wow.
That's one like, and I know it's not the most polite thing to do. It's like why you see me like eating pistachios on stream. It's just something to do with my hand and my mouth. It helps curb that.
I know a few things you can do with those two.
Yeah. Now, like here's the caveat is like since I stopped smoking, I gained 50 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm already fit enough.
You know what's good for that? Heroin, apparently, but don't do that.
I'm gonna make you feel bad here.
No, see, going into saying that, I went, I know this is going to cause problems.
Oh yeah, no. I'm gonna make you feel bad, and I'm gonna feel good about it. And so I'm just gonna do this out of love. I lost my cousin on July 4th this year to heroin.
Wow.
So I still make heroin jokes, but I just wanted to throw that out there and be like, ha, fuck you.
Gotcha.
But
wait, I knew when I was saying it, I was like, this is gonna go bad.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some reason.
This is David, by the way. That's my cousin.
Wow. Hi, David.
But no, I and here's the thing is I will make fun of it, even though I lost my cousin to it, because it's addiction is not a disease. It's something that we, for the most part, most of us get ourselves into, and it's our decision to stop. I was an addict. I beat it. So he what the heartbreaking thing is how old's your oldest?
6. Be 7 in March.
Okay, and how old's your youngest?
Just turned 1.
Okay, he left behind a 3-year-old little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a parent, fuck.
Yep. Sorry.
So I'll make fun of it and make light of it, just because.
Humor is
fuck.
medicine.
Oh yeah, fuck heroin, dude.
Humor is a medicine.
Yes. Well, that's what comedy is. It's tragedy plus time.
Well, comedy is the tragedy and misfortune of others.
Yeah. So I thought about going on the AIDS diet.
How would that have gone?
Probably about as well as a heroin diet. No, but like that's the shit thing is like all I did was start eating little things. Like now I'm even more like, I know you've seen it, but like I'm super addicted to high fructose corn syrup now. So it's fucking great. Because if you're an addict, you'll always be an addict. It's just what you decide to fill the hole with.
I'm not gonna go into names or anything, but I know somebody like it.
Yeah. It's
been in tough situations.
It sucks. I'm not gonna do it too much, and I'm gonna use Ginner as an example. I'm gonna give Ginner maybe shit once a month about smoking, and that's it. He may get pissed at me. I don't really care, but it's for his benefit.
In a way, he won't. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, it's one of the reasons I kind of bring it up as well, because so I got married 2.5 years ago now. We've been together for a long time, but we only got married 2.5 years ago. Other shit to deal with as a reason, but my father smoked cigars through my childhood. Not heavily, by any means. You're talking 2 or 3 a day, kind of thing. But we're not talking the big fat cigars.
Oh, just like
Not like Cuban cigars, small cigars.
like like the cigarettos or
Yeah. So one of the brands here is a Hamlet. It's like
okay.
probably like, you know, the blue area of that. Sorry, there we go. The blue area.
Yeah,
of
it's
that
a cigar and a cigarette, the size of a cigarette.
It's bigger than a cigarette, but yeah.
Yeah, we have those here.
And he'd smoke 3 or 4 probably a day. But one year he just went 1st of January. Children are getting older. Done. I won't have one again. When we got married, I rang my mum and I said, I want to get him a cigar for the wedding. Is it okay? Are you cool with that? And she said, I have no problem with it. Of course, you know, I know he'll enjoy it if he wants to, and because he always said that he never missed it, but when he drank, and he's a whiskey drinker.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a real tie between whiskey and smoking.
It's the smoke.
Something to do with.
There's a lot of smoke. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke in the barrels and shit.
And I find I'm not a smoker, like consistent smoker, not a smoker. But when I have a whiskey, something about it, I'm like, I would have a cigarette right now, but I won't. But he had this cigar at the wedding, and he was fucking loved it.
Hey, mate, I think I hear your kid.
No, that's
your cat.
That's the cat.
Okay.
I'm gonna check. Yeah, it's the cat.
All right, I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, sure. Trust me, you'd hear it if it was the son. But he has since smoked a few cigars here and there, like when he's gone on holidays and things. And I have felt awful guilt because of it. And no one's put it on me.
Yeah, well, it's like why. Like, here's the thing: is like it's one of the reasons why I didn't go home for Christmas yesterday. Because now this is a little different, but my old man has stage 4 lung disease. Like, I work with the public. I'm constantly in and out of people's houses. I wear masks, but who knows?
Yeah, sure.
Like, chances are nothing would happen. But if I were to kill him,
ooh, shit.
Holy fuck, would that be?
Well,
so you're self-imposing guilt on yourself for something that may not affect him, or if he gets full blown back into it, like, you're gonna feel responsible for that. But in the end, like I said, addiction is up to the person that's addicted.
The way I've taken it, and I don't hold things very heavy on my shoulders. There's one subject I do, which I can go into, but which is not a guilt thing at all. But the way I see it, he's old enough and stupid enough that if he's going to enjoy it. You know what? Enjoy it. I don't see a problem with it. It's not like he's doing it every day either. He's only doing it for special occasions.
I have a mate. He stopped smoking and he's like super into like running and shit now. And he's always a skinny fucking dude like you. And I'm
not as skinny as you think.
Yeah. If we're comparing to me, you're skinny as shit. He was just skinny. Like, he was like not in shape, but he was just skinny. And so he started listening to like David Goggins, who's like an ex-Navy SEAL, and like he's this very, I don't know if you know who he is, but and some other motivational guys like Jocko Willink, who is also an ex-Navy SEAL. And so he started running every day and actually working out and shit. And now he's ripped. Me and him, he's actually one of a very few bit of in real life friends that came to the hospital.
Right.
He stopped smoking way before, maybe a year before I did, but now he's back into smoking cigars. And this is, your father actually made me think of this. I give him shit about it all the fucking time. I'm like, bro, stop it. Because that also leads me to believe that I can do that. I can't. I'm like, that's one thing I don't think I can't kick. That's one thing I can't kick. Like, one of my biggest problems was alcohol. I didn't touch alcohol for 2 years. I was on my way to an early grave from alcohol, and which alcohol got me into doing other things, which was downhill. So, so I didn't touch it for 2 years. Now I can socially do this. Like, after this, I probably will stop. Like, when we're done recording today, like, I'll probably stop drinking. But I like doing this because it loosens us up and we have fun.
Yeah.
Now, I've also talked to you at 7 in the morning my time on a weekend when you're getting up and getting started, and I'm still up drinking.
Yeah.
But that's not even close to what I used to be. But I know I can't do any tobacco. Dude. Here's the thing: is like that's from what everyone says is an addict thing. That's worse than heroin.
Mm.
And like him, I yell at all the time. My dude Toby, he doesn't care about this, but he smokes weed all day, every day while he works. He can't function without it. Once a month, which I'm gonna do with Ginner too, even though I'm not like super close with him or anything, but I do care about his well being. Is I'm just going, hey man, you gonna stop smoking? And when he says no, I'm like, okay, I'll ask next month. I do the same thing with my dude Toby. I asked him to stop smoking weed because he has COPD, which is lung disease. Sometimes all it takes is people to care.
Yeah.
Or you have what I went through. The cardiac arrest probably wouldn't have stopped me from smoking.
A sign.
Yeah. The
Sign.
cardiac arrest probably would not have stopped me from smoking. What put the nail in it was I had to be awake for a 2-foot tube.
I know what 2 foot.
Yeah, I know. A 2-foot tube being shoved through my chest while I was awake.
Yeah.
So,
no, please.
I looked it up. I talked to doctors and nurses, and they go, "That's more painful than giving birth without any drugs."
I've got one like that as well.
I'm like,
mine's very different, but
I'm like, sweet. I'm like, sweet. I'm done smoking, and I have not, I have not touched any tobacco. I started chewing tobacco when I was 16, and you probably can't see it, but my gums are fucked up. Like that tooth, you can probably see.
Yeah.
Like, the gums are gone, and it's kind of fucked my teeth up there, but because it's fiberglass, it's chewing away at your. And I did that till I was 28 years old. I did that for 12 years, but I smoked the entire time too. No chewing tobacco, no chaw, no smoke at all. I haven't smoked weed since I was 25, so. Which, God, I wanted to fucking smoke weed instead of doing opiates after my surgeries. They're like, we're a Christian hospital and we can't give you weed. I'm like, that's cool. I don't believe in God, so bring it on.
Bye. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so you talk about something that's just painful. Mine is completely different level to yours. So a drink I'm actually really into, but I cannot have anymore, is red wine.
Ooh.
Actually, it's wine, but I was only ever into red wine. Cannot have it. So I have it's not actually diagnosed because no one's been able to. So I would drink a couple of glasses of red wine. Next day I'll be in hospital. Next day I'll be in hospital to the point of them giving me the legal amount of morphine, and I'm still in pain. They assumed it was gallbladder because that's exactly where the pain was. I've had MRI, CT scans, full body. Yeah, I've had everything.
Yeah.
No gallstones, no nothing, no idea why. Stopped drinking red wine, never had the pain. It was the only thing that I could tie it to, but it did happen sometimes when I didn't have red wine. And it is related, but I don't drink tea. I don't drink tea, which in Britain is quite a weird thing.
Well, I've always noticed you
Britain
make tea for your wife and you have coffee.
Always. I only drink coffee. As in from tea coffee perspective. I don't drink tea. The two similarities between wine and tea is a high tannin count. Very high tannin count. And I have a intolerance or allergy to tannin. I can't process it. So it basically like clogs up my gallbladder.
No.
So you don't see a gallstone, but you feel the gallbladder pain. And I remember one particular time that it was very bad, which was when I was a best man at a stag do. And so it was like a weekend stag do. And one
That's a
morning
bachelor party, by the way.
Yeah, stag do. Bachelor party. Same difference. Friday, everyone arrived. So I was a best man for a Scottish guy. I was wearing a kilt, the whole thing. Anyway, all his mates come down from Scotland. I've never met any of them. I met one of them, actually. They all come down from Scotland. We go out that night. and then the next day we've got like a what we would call an it's a knockout planned, which is, how would I explain this? Massive inflatables that you like running through and just being complete dickheads, which we were all wasted during, right? I could never make it to that because I was in hospital.
Oh, you drank wine, red wine.
I didn't. I had a cup of tea. When I got in to try and sober up, I was like, oh, I need a drink, I need water. And my mate had made a cup of tea, and I was like, yeah, I'll just show you that. Like, just give me anything. I had a cup of tea. And I was in hospital. I would also like to say, I got out of hospital and managed to carry on with the stag do.
Yes.
Which was very painful, but carried on. But when I was in there, I was given the legal amount of morphine, and then they went, you're still in pain, we're going to give you a suppository. Biggest, burliest nurse I've ever seen comes hurtling down the fucking ward. Poof! Right up there. I passed out seconds later.
Nice.
I was out for 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't know if I could deal with anal pain. I probably would have passed out from that.
To be honest, the pain I was having from that, nothing.
In comparison?
Pissed me for all I care. Like, it was unpleasant. Yeah, but I've been admitted to hospital for that 7 or 8 times. I've not drank wine since. Never been back.
Wow, that's fucked up.
It's weird.
See,
no doctors, no consultants, no. I've been to 4 or 5 different hospitals, and they're just like, no idea.
Do you think, like, because I know he's said it a few times, like the NHS is basically like their free healthcare over there. I know you do have private doctors over there too.
It's not. Just to give full clarity, it's not free. It is free, but it's not.
You pay for your taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But carry on.
Same thing in Canada. It's what's called the national health.
Yeah, so ours is national insurance.
Yeah, health insurance. So, freedom ain't fucking free, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, like mine, like when they shoved that tube through me, like everything went white hot, like just everything went white, foof, foof, in and out. I didn't pass out. Did I tell you the story? I made the surgeon laugh before he did it.
No.
So I don't feel like showing it on cam, but maybe one day I will. So I have a massive scar that's probably about this side on my side. It's actually starting to go away because he had to butcher me so bad just to cut me open. It was because we had to do it super fast. And then he had to take his fingers and break. So if these are my 2 ribs, he had to keep going like this to break the muscles down before he did it. Yeah. So they did give me local for that, but it only went so far. And he started cutting me open where there weren't local anymore. Even a razor sharp scalpel still fucking hurts, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's doing it, and he's like, it's just pressure, and like now, like even just like barely touching, it fucking hurts. But he's breaking down the things, and I got chummy with one of the nurses in there, and there's a very famous barbecue place here in Columbus. A lot of people know about it, and this nurse knew about it. We were talking about it before they did the surgery, and he's breaking down the muscle in between my ribs. And so I'm laying there like this, he's doing it, and I'm like, oh. And I know it's getting time, and I'm like, hey, any of y'all hungry? And the nurse steps, because he went to go get something outside of the ICU, and he's like, why? And I'm like, y'all want to go for ribs after this? The surgeon's laughing. He's laughing so hard, his fingers are protruding through my fucking rib cage. And this guy was a robot. He was stone cold fucking robot. But I got him to laugh. And the nurse goes, are you talking about Ray Ray's hog pit? And I, with my other hand, I just give a thumbs up. And then he goes, you ready? I'm like, fucking do it, bro. And he jabbed it through my chest. And that was the most painful thing. Now, one weird thing that I've had, which surprisingly I didn't have beforehand, just from my lifestyle, is I have kidney stones now. I think it's probably from the meds I have to be on and shit now, and
similar pain to the gallbladder stuff.
But and by no means, people that get regular kidney stones, I don't have it as bad as you guys do. Like my buddy Sully, like he's my buddy, like he just pretty much trolls me now. But his family gets him real bad. Like, I've taken him to get a stent put in his dick. I've taken him to get it taken out. I don't have it anywhere close to people like that. Like, once a month, I take a piss, and then it feels like a needle runs through the tip of my bell end.
And you'll just hear a tinkle.
And I'm like,
Tink,
because most of the time when because I have like a cab on my truck that like has two doors open like this, so I'll piss out on the street into a McDonald's cup. So people think I'm getting in my truck and I fucking pour it out underneath my truck, just because like I don't get paid hourly, I get my shit done fast. Surprising as being a big dude, but when I do that, I'll be in a neighborhood where houses are like $500,000 and shit, and I'm taking a piss. And all of a sudden, I just go, fuck, and I'm like, and then I get it, and then I throw it out. But yeah, like once a month, I get like what feels like a needle running through the tip of my dick.
Yeah.
Since this thing, and I'm like, I'm happy I get it like.
Yeah, some people get off on that shit, mate.
Yeah, I mean, some people have a Prince Albert. So
teething? No. I'm on about stuff put down your urethra, but let's not go into that.
You ever had a catheter?
No, I haven't.
Oh, let me tell you about that. So that second surgery, because they didn't have to put the second surgery they had to put me under for. Thank God they put me under. But they put a catheter in me, and so I wake up and I'm like, I'm moving and I just happen to like reach down near my dick and I'm like, do I have a fucking catheter in? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I want it out now. And so they're like, we can't take it out. So like about a day later, they go, do you want it out? And I'm like, yeah, I want the fucking catheter gone. So okay. Now, granted, an hour before this happens, this is the only time I yelled at a nurse, and this was out of pure pain. One of the stipulations of me leaving the hospital is during the day I have to sit up in a chair, get myself up and out with help. Now, I've got tube running in my chest. I've got all these monitors, a tube hanging out my dick. So I have to have help getting up. And I'm pretty weak, too. But,
yeah, sure.
So this nurse picks up all the shit in her hands like this so I can get off the bed. Well, she only went... Her fingers were like this, and she went... And the only thing that dropped out was the catheter tube.
Oh.
And the catheter tube was not long enough to hit the ground before it pulled on my dick.
So you had a little tug.
Yes. So it happens and I go, oh, fuck you, bitch. And she goes, you don't talk to me like that. And I go, you're right. I'm sorry. That just hurt a lot. So I don't know if you know how a catheter works. That tube that goes in also has balloons throughout it that's inflated. So those just...
So it doesn't move. Yeah.
So, and then actually, I'm going to say a second one. A different nurse, when she took the catheter out, when she deflated the balloons, she inflated them first. And I lifted myself up out of the bed with all my ribs broken and my body weight. And I didn't really yell at her. I just go, holy fuck. And she goes, stop being such a baby. And then karma got her, and she pulled the tube out, and I pissed all over her.
Eat that.
So I started laughing. I'm like, I guess we're even.
Yeah. Right.
But so I lied to you.
About?
This was not going to be an hour, and I knew it wasn't going to be.
Yeah, well, I kind of assumed that. When we started and you hadn't tested, I was like, okay, we're going to be here for a while.
Actually, not even that. Just the recording itself, we're over 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. Part of me didn't mind, though, because I know I've got an NBA game I can watch live in a bit.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's cool, because it starts at midnight, I think. So.
And you're at what right now?
We're at 11:45.
11:45?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I don't like this is what I love about podcasting, and when I've done before, and this is, and obviously like I want, like I'll ask you to come on more often. But it's just gonna be harder being in different like our time zones are vastly different.
Yeah, sure.
But this is what I love. Is like I love getting off on a tangent. Like I'll always prep anyone that comes on here. Like, hey man, this is what I want to talk about. But I know we're gonna talk about a couple of them, and we're gonna go off on tangents of things that we.
Well, if you make this a regular between you and I, people have understood a little bit about you, a little bit about me, a little bit about how we came to know each other. And we have touched on a couple of the topics you wanted to about COVID and healthcare systems.
Mm-hmm. Just the difference between the countries, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And whiskey.
And whiskey. You asked me for you asked me for notes beforehand. I'm like, I'm just gonna tell them about this because I want to side.
Hey,
side
I got 9. I googled it. There's 9 types.
Hey,
so
yeah.
officially.
Well, there's peanut butter whiskeys now though too, which I won't buy.
They're not a type. Come on. I don't like peanut butter.
What about Fireball? Do you consider that a whiskey? Excuse me.
I don't consider it a type. If you know what I mean. Like if you were to say standard types of whiskey. Let me actually Google it.
I don't. Someone goes, "Oh, what about peanut butter whiskeys?" I was talking with the other day. Oh, in the Zoom Christmas party last weekend. I think you probably saw the Instagram post of it.
Yeah.
Because someone brought up my reviews, and I'm just like, well, which I gained a few followers on YouTube off of that. So,
nice.
I go, I don't consider peanut butter whiskeys a whiskey. I go, I won't buy it. I go, if someone buys it for me, I'll review it, but I can't get on board with it. And Fireball, which is a cinnamon, it's basically like Aftershock,
I can't stand cinnamon as I like cinnamon in things, but
not
that
overly
harsh taste of cinnamon.
No,
not for me.
I can't. I go, that's not a whiskey. It's just cinnamon liquor. That's all that is. And if you think it's a whiskey, you can go fuck yourself. If I don't know if you can, maybe you can, but Great Lakes Brewery, which is out of Cleveland. If you can find them, if not, if I can find a way to ship you some of their beers, I will. Every year they have a Christmas ale, which was very famous for a long time. Still is, not as good as it was. Part of their thing is cinnamon. This year, like I still have a couple up in my fridge, but I highly taste the cinnamon. I'm like, eh. Now if you go to a pub here and you get it, they do it like a margarita, and they, instead of putting salt around the rim of the glass, they do it with cinnamon.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, it's weird. Now when the actual beer or the ale didn't have as much cinnamon in it, it paired nicely.
It was bearable.
Yeah, it paired. Okay, yeah. It paired, but like now if that would have been, I'd be like, holy fuck!
Like me on a banana.
Not quite. Like
I was much worse. Yeah.
But
so I googled right.
Okay.
Types of whiskey. So interestingly, it says technically there's 2 types. Technically, because there is only malt or grain. Because all the other varieties are technically a malt or a grain. But then it goes on and it says, obviously, from malts and grains, you got single malts, blended whiskey, so blended. But then it goes bourbon, corn whiskey.
Say the first one again.
Bourbon, but I'd say bourbon.
Yeah.
Bourbon whiskey, corn whiskey, malt whiskey, rye whiskey, wheat whiskey, blended. These 2 I'm not counting because they're just the same thing, which is light whiskey or spirit whiskey. Same fucking difference.
That's probably like
they're blended whiskeys.
Okay.
You know. And then it goes on to say all the different types in terms of Australian, Canadian, Danish, English, Finnish, Georgian, blah blah blah. But essentially the ones I said are the main ones, which here's the list.
There's too many subcultures of whiskey.
Exactly. So it says here, it says a definitive list. There's 9 main types of whiskey: Irish, Scotch, Japanese, Canadian, bourbon, Tennessee, rye, blended, or malt.
Yes. Now there's blended. Like I have one. I did one called Fistful of Bourbon. You can only imagine the jokes I made
I
in that.
may have seen it. Yeah, I imagine.
That's a blended bourbon, which generally they don't. Like bourbons generally don't blend.
You
Like,
can't call that so you can't say that's a type because that's two types, if you know what I mean. Like there's 9 main types, but then you can go down from that. For instance, you keep saying that a sour mash is different from a bourbon, but I call a sour mash a type of bourbon.
now, from a taste profile, it is different.
It is different, yeah, absolutely. But like blended whiskeys, you can have loads of different types of blended whiskey that taste different, but they're all blended whiskeys.
Correct.
So that's why I'm saying
I'm saying
mash a bourbon.
sour mash has a different flavor profile than a bourbon does. Bourbon has more of a woody, but not smoky flavor, as in like a Scotch. Like a Scotch, you'll always have some type of general smoky flavor.
Yeah, yeah.
Except for like Glenlivet. Glenlivet, for some reason, has more of a vanilla flavor to it, or like a rosé, to me at least. But like Johnny Walker, that's smoky.
Walker, Black Label, yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Walker Black. Now that's the only Johnny Walker I ever had. I haven't had blue or red yet, or white.
I've had blue. I haven't had red. Blue's nice. I quite like blue.
Dude, that runs us about just the bottle without like in a gift pack. Like my friend's husband was thinking about buying a gift set for me, and it was like $250. Just the bottle alone runs anywhere from $100 to $200 here around where I live.
I'm not sure how much it is here. I think I had some with my father.
See, is
130 pounds.
okay? So here in the United States, depending on the state, whether it's a state or a commonwealth, is different on how alcohol is priced.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So, like, I'm next to 2 commonwealths which sell alcohol actually differently and at lower prices. So, like, in Pennsylvania, you have to go to a state distributor to even get beer. If you buy beer at a grocery store or a gas station or a petrol station, you have to buy it room temperature. You can't buy liquor at a liquor store. You have to go to a state-run facility in PA. In Indiana, you have to. It's cheaper. Everything's just cheaper over there to their laws.
So confusing.
Now
it's like if we talk about Europe, you go to France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Belgium, Portugal, Austria, Switzerland, wherever. Everything is cheaper there compared to UK. Just everything.
Yeah, but you're not part of the European Union though anymore, right?
Well, not
the
anymore.
whole Brexit thing. Yeah.
Not anymore.
Well, I'll have
for
to,
another podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole fucking can of worms I don't want to touch right now because that's gonna be like 8 more hours of fucking talking and me listening.
My one of my last comments is gonna be officially sour mash is a bourbon. According to Google, which for these
Google.
purposes, I believe.
The internet's not real.
Where's this podcast going out? In the mail.
Fuck you, James. Probably whiskey.
Nailed you with that one. I'm gonna. Have I finished? Oh, that one's gone. I've got to move on to gin now.
Oh no.
Well, I'm gonna get ready with my NBA game.
Okay. This has been fun. This was a good talk.
This has been great. I'm not sure if we've had much. Like you said, we've rambled. Have fun cutting this together, because I'm not sure there's been much. There's been fluidity, but has there been different time stamps that you can say we discussed this at this point?
Yeah, I think. Well, we've
circled.
We've started and then we've circled back. So
yeah,
kind of like the basis of Tenet, which you did not watch. Which
only because I haven't had time.
That's fine.
Tomorrow I have time to watch it.
That's fine. Watch it. I can explain it to you, but I don't want to explain it to you until you see the movie.
No, I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
To me,
are you going to set a subject matter for the next one? I'd say if we had to say a subject matter for this one, let's be honest, it's us, COVID, and whiskey.
Yeah, it was more like learning about us.
Us.
I will, and when
2 blokes, whiskey, and COVID.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is I used to come up when I used to produce the other one with my other mates. I generally came up with most of it, or we talk throughout the week and go, okay, this is what, watch this movie, do this, look into this. But since I was the producer, I always came up with some weird thing that I saw, and I threw it in the beginning. Because sometimes I don't want people to research. Like when you guys play RimWorld, and actually it was one time I did this, and I go, you need an agent of chaos. I like being I live in chaos. I've learned to succeed at when things go sideways or derail, to get back on it. And I love doing that to people, especially, and I know from watching you play like RimWorld, you are very, this is a square box, it needs to be a square box and nothing else.
Yeah.
Is I love going in, and not in a mean way, I love going in and fucking your world up, because that teaches you to adapt.
You need to go and watch one of the recent RimWorld ones where I did do that too. I drove Cam and Jinna nuts.
See, Cam seems more of a agent of chaos, kind of like me, or he can deal with being derailed. As far as from what I've experienced with him, Jinner seems very like you, where it's like you have a very good mindset of, okay, this is a box, it's going to be a box. If we do this, this will happen, and you're very good at it. And there's very good. You have good structure of how you do things. I just love fucking people's structure up, and I think it's fun, in a fun way. I don't ever do it like my buddy Sully that I talked about earlier. His we'll say it's OCD. We all have OCD, and it's always something weird. After we lived together, it was after we lived together, and he lived with one of our lady friends. I would go, and I no longer lived in Kent, but we'd go down there for parties and shit, and I'd stay on his couch. He had different color pillows on each end, and I'd switch them.
Yes.
And
I love doing shit like that.
Even though I didn't sit on that couch, I'd sit in another chair. I'd watch him. He'd come in, and he'd see it, and he'd switch them back. So as soon as he left the room, I'd do it again. And he doesn't.
Oh, no, I love shitting people up with that. I know what you mean about how I seem. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm quite organized. I try and be efficient. But that's only because life works a little easier that way.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I agree with people that are very organized.
As far as other people's worlds, I'll shit them up all day long. That's why my missus and I get along so well, because God, do we wind each other up for fun?
Oh yeah, and she
Non-stop.
seems to be, as from what I know of her,
better at it than me sometimes.
If she got derailed, she can right that ship real quick.
Oh yes, oh yes. Nah, she's great.
But I meld better with people like you that are very organized than I do with chaotic people. I get along with everyone, but
my job's to be organized. Like, that's what I have to do for a living. Be organized.
When you get to know me and we talk about how I used to run a branch, one of the most successful branches in the pest control company, you'd be like, that's not you. I'd be like, well, that's not me. Like, in my personal life, this shit, I'm chaotic. But when it came to leading people, getting people to do what they wanted, I'm very good at it. So the longer we get to know each other better, you'll understand. And I will always fuck with you. Always. Especially
same
you.
Same with me for you.
Especially,
we'll fuck with each other.
Oh, and I love it. I love fucking with each other. But anyways, I know I said it when he got up to get a drink, but please, I will put in his rebrand shit in the description when it comes along. I will not put this out until he I will date this for when he rebrands. And I'll have I'll have a few of these cataloged, hopefully. So I'm gonna try to be as consistent as I possibly can with these and my whiskey reviews. But I know I did it at the top of the show, but please follow, whether it's subscribing on YouTube, go follow us on Twitch. We'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We have Twitter, Instagram. My shit's pretty much all the same. So Rogue Meatwad, twitch.tv/Rogue Meatwad for Twitch. This will be in the descriptions, but at Rogue Meatwad for Twitter, and it's different for YouTube, but I'll have that out anyways. As of right now, it's at Savage bottoms thing Fury underscore Fury for most of the social medias right now.
That's it. They'll all be changing by then.
But they will all be changing. If you follow us on it, if you're enjoying this, we appreciate it. I heard this in it.
If you're not, let us know.
Yeah, please come talk about it. I and him would love to fucking talk about this shit. I heard this on the YouTube channel, and I'm gonna steal it. Please hit that follow button or the subscribe button. It's something simple for you, but it means a lot to us.
Yeah, for sure.
It's that simple. At least for me, if this were to be my living, it means everything to me. Like, if you've listened this long, I've had a traumatic experience, and I didn't dwell on this, but I hate what I do. This would mean everything to me. I know he's trying to kind of do the same thing. As far as if he likes his job or not, that's up to him to say. But
I do.
But this is, I think, ultimately what we want to do is entertain people in some way, shape, or fashion. So please, like I said, it's a simple click for you, but it means the world to us, and we would appreciate it. James, do you have anything else?
Not just that, but also, if you want like-minded people to come and speak to, who can have a chat openly, and you need some people to be social with you, that's what we're about. So drop that follow and subscription.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.